Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stinchfield. I am not happy with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice is still infected with deep state insiders, and they're doing great harm to not only President Trump's agenda, but ultimately getting retribution for the damage that was done to so many American citizens, including President Trump. We are now learning, at least being told, that Ed Martin, the MAGA favorite prosecutor, is out as the leader of the weaponization of government working group inside the DOJ. In fact, what's being reported is the entire unit was shut down January 1st. This is a huge problem. My assumption is President Trump had no idea about this. Now, who is the man responsible? As you start to look into this, the reporting that's coming out is that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is the one who's responsible. Well, who's Todd Blanche? Another guy I'm not really happy with. I never fully trusted this man. He was a Democrat up until 2024. Why do we have a Democrat as the second highest position of power inside the Department of Justice? That is a problem. So this is what was tweeted out by Paul Sperry. He's a very reputable conservative reporter, and he reported, Deputy AG Todd Blanche didn't tell the White House he was removing Ed Martin from the weaponization working group. He goes on to tweet, the Russiagate Accountability Unit has been effectively idled for the past 55 days. Now, I am outraged at this because what we voted for with President Trump, what we were promised, was that we would get to the bottom of who did this damage to everyone, including President Trump. It's also a direct assault on President Trump's Executive Order 14147. And I will read you the very end of it. This is the ending weaponization of government executive order, and it reads, this order sets forth a process to ensure accountability for the previous administration's weaponization of federal government against the American people. How do you have that process if the accountability group is now out of business? Now, why are they going after Ed Martin? Remember, Ed Martin, as I said, a MAGA favorite. This is the guy we wanted to be the U.S. attorney in D.C. to start going after some of these people. But who sunk Ed Martin? The deep state. Republican uniparty members like John Thune. So he gets sunk. Why do they go after him? Steve Bannon summed it up.
Ed Martin, the reason they're after the people like Ed Martin is because Ed Martin is a fighter. Tulsi Gabbard's a fighter. They single out and target the people that are the biggest fighters.
Now, here's what really bothers me. Because I'm telling you, if we're going to upset Republicans, we better have our communications in order, because Democrats are going to use this against us. And the DOJ is all over the map on this. Now, today we're getting word from the president of the Oversight Project, who also went on with Steve Bannon, that no, nothing to see here. Ed Martin's just fine. I don't believe that he's just fine. Let's listen to the president of the Oversight Project, and then I'll tell you exactly what's going on here.
Ed Martin's not going anywhere. I just spoke to him, and he's got the president's full backing. Don't listen to any of the noise. The reason why he has the president's backing is because he is loyal to the agenda that got President Trump into the White House. You know, we have worked so closely with him out of the Oversight Project on the things that I think the base expected to be delivered.
Look, I'm a big fan of the Oversight Project, but this is not noise, and it is not to be ignored. Now, if Ed Martin now has the full backing of the president, which he had before because the president's the one who appointed him, what in the world was happening? I believe two things were at play. Either the DOJ is now backtracking because they see people like us and Steve Bannon are now on the case and not happy, or President Trump found out about this and he is pissed. And my assumption is it's a little bit of both, but mostly the latter. How do I know this is a legit story? All you have to do is look at the spokesperson for the DOJ who told this to Fox News, basically saying that President Trump appointed Ed Martin as pardon attorney, and Ed continues to do a great job in that role. That to Fox News. Now, if the whole story was made up and Sperry was wrong, wouldn't the DOJ spokesperson have said that? We don't know where you're getting this. They made it clear he was just a pardon attorney now. So I'm glad they're backtracking. I'm glad maybe there's some hope for Ed Martin because this is a good man. But I'm really concerned about who's calling the shots inside the Department of Justice and who is literally turning his back or their back or her back on President Trump's agenda. I want to bring in now former Green Beret and constitutional attorney, Lieutenant Colonel, retired our Secretary of Retribution, Ivan Raiklin, is with us. Colonel, great to have you back.
Good to be back, Grant.
All right, you see how this is unfolding. What do you think's happening right now inside the Department of Justice?
Yeah, I just think that this is another instance where the deep state is undefeated against this president. And so far, we've gotten 0 wins. When I say wins on the accountability front, I mean, you've seen that meme going around for the last year plus. Number of arrests, Russia collusion hoax, 0. Impeachment hoax 1, 0. Impeachment hoax 2, 0. The COVID con, 0. 2020 election heist, 0. Biden auto pen, 0. So for the last 12 years that we've seen all of this treason, not a single person. James Comey running freely, right? The 8647 James Comey still running freely, threatening presidents of the United States. John Brennan, still nothing related to that. He's basically running around treasoning. So I just see that the deep state continues to win. And this is just yet another example of that, where Adam Schiff gave the proverbial middle finger to the president, along with Tom Tillis, where they stopped Ed Martin from becoming the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Another instance was Alina Habba in New Jersey was also removed off the case. And then also Lindsay Halligan is no longer a U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. And you don't hear a single peep from Pam Bondi. All she does is go on Fox News and talks about strongly worded letters. Meanwhile, she doesn't defend Ed Martin, the Lindsay Halligans, the Alina Habbas, and those are the individuals that we need in the trenches of the 94 federal districts to then prosecute people. Nothing happens.
Look, I can tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the people you just mentioned there, from Alina Habba to Lindsay Halligan and Ed Martin, these are some of President Trump's favorite people. So I'm not sure why the rest of the crew isn't getting on board with supporting the people that Trump wants, but we know there's a uniparty in Washington. And you mentioned these arrests. You sent me a list of the number of Republicans arrested under the Biden administration. There were at least 50 by my count, not including the 1,200 plus J6ers that were arrested. 50 people close to President Trump.
J6ers.
So there you have that number of arrests versus 0. What happens here, Colonel? What do we do? Do you think this is Todd Blanche? He's like the number 2 guy there.
I mean, all the indications to me show that it is Todd Blanche, and I'm going to give you a reason why. Remember, it was a almost unanimous bill that President Trump signed into law that compelled the DOJ to release the Epstein files by December 19th. Todd Blanche failed miserably on the release by December 19th. Then it was Todd Blanche, the guy that runs the DOJ internally, right? The number 2 guy that was supposed to, within 15 days after that, provide a list to Congress that was sealed of the names in the Epstein files. He failed there as well. Remember, he's not failing Congress. He's failing Congress and the president of the United States because the president signed the bill into law. Another instance is that, I mean, just like you said, January 1st, the weaponization working group was created in order to de-weaponize our institutions from deep state actors. You still have Jolene Ann Loria, who's been there for 19 years, controlling all money flows in and out of the DOJ. Every single program, whether it's IT, HR, and money, Jolene Ann Loria is still there. That's another name that people need to be aware of. But at the end of the day, it rests on Todd Blanche, it rests on Pam Bondi, and it goes up the chain of command. I would say that Dave Warrington, the White House counsel, probably has a role in some of this decision-making process, along with the Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, on whether or not they decided to remove Ed Martin, because I'll take President Trump for his word that he didn't know. But some of these other people had to have known that Ed Martin was removed in order to provide Todd Blanche top cover. And we're not, I mean, this is unacceptable. I'm just as furious as you are that the only guy that barely didn't have it, they moved him from the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office, removed him from there from going after the deep state. Then they put him in the DOJ without a staff, effectively, without subpoena authority. And now they're taking and stripping away the title that he has in order to implement the president's executive order. The deep state is continuing to be undefeated.
Well, I appreciate you keeping the pressure on. I'd be surprised if Susie Wiles or the White House attorney was behind this. I think it's working more at DOJ, but you know what? You're a smart guy, Colonel, and I always take everything you say very, very seriously. I hope the administration does too, and I hope President Trump is keeping an eye on this. I know he is probably not happy about all of this going down right now. Colonel Ivan Raiklin, thank you for coming on as always.
Thanks for having me, Grant. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. All right, I want to turn now to the government shutdown. The shutdown has been arrested, totally averted. Okay, this is a good thing for the next couple of weeks. We now have a $1.2 trillion spending bill, which does cut some spending, and it looks good. President Trump wanted this. It's okay. It's not perfect, but we can't expect to have perfection in D.C. The problem is the Department of Homeland Security spending bill is now on a 2-week life support, a short-term spending bill for that. And I have serious concerns about Republicans in the United States Congress and Senate rolling over to Democrats when it comes to these ICE demands that they have. Here is the speaker.
Of the demands that were made, the requests that were made, many of those are already being implemented. You notice that that they're going to have the body cameras. We put $20 million additional dollars in this legislation that they're holding up right now to pay for more body cameras. But Secretary Noem came out yesterday, as you saw, and announced that this will be the new policy. These are good things. The roving patrols will be modified.
What are you talking about? I mean, you're talking about judicial warrants. That's not good. That will gum up the entire system. Roving patrols will be modified? How is Congress going to take a role in how a law enforcement agency conducts its business? What are you going to do? Set up these agents that if they have a roving patrol in the wrong way, you're going to hold them criminally accountable because you broke a law passed by Congress? That's a recipe for disaster. And in fact, it's exactly what the Democrats want. They want to set up ICE agents to be held criminally accountable for their actions. Body cameras, who cares? I'm happy to have body cameras. They protect the agents more than they protect the criminals. That I promise you. But in the end, these judicial warrants instead of administrative warrants, that will gum up the entire system. This is Johnson again.
I'll tell you what we are not going to do. We're not going to work towards some sort of amnesty program or something. Some Democrats have whispered that that's what they would be about. We are not going to impede the enforcement of federal immigration law.
But Mr. Speaker, again, the judicial warrants are the key for the Democrats. If you go to a system where you need a federal judge to issue a warrant for every illegal out there, you'll never get all the warrants. You'll never be able to go arrest and deport all the people that we're currently arresting and deporting right now. That's what the Democrats know. It's their trick to stop it in its tracks. Let's wake up, guys, unless you're part of it. And if you're part of it, just come clean. Other than that, let's wake up, okay, and get on the ball. Now, as for the spending bill that was passed, President Trump likes it. This really is a tribute to the persuasive power of President Trump.
This bill is a great victory for the American people. Instead of a bloated and wasteful omnibus monstrosity full of special interest handouts, we've succeeded in passing a fiscally responsible package that actually cuts wasteful federal spending while supporting critical programs for the safety, security, and prosperity of the American people.
Thank you, Mr. President. And now I just want us to hold firm on this 2-week Department of Homeland Security action. Now to the bad news. Activist judges are still alive and well. We have a Biden appointee now from Uruguay who put the kibosh on President Trump's termination of temporary protected status for 350,000 illegal alien Haitians. So Trump says we're lifting the temporary protected status. This Biden's judge says you can't do that. That's judicial activism. And she's wrong, by the way. This is Tricia McLaughlin.
This is a program, temporary protected status, that is designed to be temporary. Haitians were given temporary protected status 15 years ago because of an earthquake. That shouldn't be happening. This can't be de facto amnesty in this program. That's not what it was designed to be.
All right. You want to know how I know that this is a radical judge? Listen to this part of her ruling here, okay? And I quote, on December 2nd, 1783, then Commander-in-Chief George Washington penned, America is open to receive not only the opulent and respected of all nations and religions. More than 2 centuries later, Congress reaffirmed President Washington's vision by establishing the temporary protected status program. Does she not see the big giant word temporary? I promise you George Washington understands what temporary means. I want to bring in now former U.S. Navy JAG officer, former federal prosecutor, and now U.S. Senate candidate as a Republican in North Carolina. Don Brown is back. Don, it's good to see you. Welcome back.
Grant, good to be here on the campaign trail in Fayetteville. The Fayetteville Republican women are behind me, and they're big Stinchfield fans tonight. So thanks for having us. It's an honor to be with you again.
Well, you give them a big salute from me, and those clubs are very, very important in keeping America on the right direction. Now, let me ask you about this judge. Your thoughts about this ruling, Don?
The judge is radical. This is the same judge that tried to overturn the president's executive decision to end transgender recruitment into the military. She's got no authority to do this. You used the word temporary. When Congress passed this TPS program under George H.W. Bush, it gave the sole authority to the president to decide when to declare temporary status for a country and when to end it. It gave no authority to any federal judge to step in. This is reminiscent of what we saw in 2017 when President Trump then ended temporarily travel from certain Sharia countries. You remember the Democrats sued. A radical judge in Washington, Robards, and other in Hawaii, Watson, said it was unconstitutional and went through the Ninth Circuit. 1 year and 4 months later, the Supreme Court reversed these radical judges. This judge doesn't have the authority to do this. The administration is going to appeal it. I suspect that the Supreme Court will lift the stay. There are over 330,000 Haitians in this country. And the president has already ended this TPS program for Venezuela, for South Sudan, and a number of other countries. But this radical judge is claiming that there's a racial animus to Kristi Noem's decision to end this program. It's the most ridiculous thing I've seen, and it needs to be stricken down immediately.
Let me just read you a little bit more of her decision, because really it basically knocks me off my chair to think they just do not care about the rule of law. They want to invoke their own opinion. Judge Reyes writes, consider the economy first. Haitian TPS holders substantially benefit the U.S. economy, contribute approximately $3.4 billion to it annually. These economic contributions reflect the critical roles that Haitian TPS holders play in workplaces across the country. Now, what does that have to do with the price of rice in China, Don Brown, when you're ruling on the law?
It is totally outside of her bailiwick, so to speak. This judge has zero authority over the execution of immigration law. That's left to the president of the United States. It's a typical example of someone in the black robe trying to legislate. I've been saying that what we need is a Judicial Separation of Powers Act that will very clearly divest judges from any authority they may think they have over immigration in the United States military. It is 1,000% judicial overreach. It's a little Democrat judge who's radical trying to legislate from the bench, and it needs to be stricken down. And this is what the Democrats are doing. They're using lawfare with these radical judges to try to legislate and push their radical agenda from the bench. It's got to come to an end.
Yeah, it sure does. I want to turn now to the Clintons, and just to get your reaction before I let you go. They have now relented and said, yes, they will go in and testify before Congress. This is James Comer, whose committee they'll be testifying before, talking about this.
The terms were the rules of a standard deposition. So they're not going to be treated any differently than anyone else. And the dates will be in February, in the next few weeks. So the contempt motion is still on the table. The contempt of Congress is for failing to show up. This will be their third date that we've given the Clintons. And 3 strikes and you're out. The votes are there for contempt. I think there are Democrats that will vote to hold him in contempt.
I think they realize they would be held in contempt, and they don't have a case to fight that. And so here we go. Your thoughts, Don. Last word.
Good time to invest in some stock in some popcorn companies. I'm going to get the popcorn ready to go. I'm going to watch this. It's going to be a lot of fun. They should be arrested if they are in contempt of Congress again. That's what the Democrats did to Steve Bannon. And what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can't thumb your nose at the rule of law, and it's going to be fun to watch. And I hope you have me back on for a post-observation review of the Clintons' performance in front of Comer's committee. It's going to be something to see.
Well, put it in your calendar. You're always welcome back on this program. Don Brown, running as a Republican for the United States Senate in North Carolina. Give him your website real quick, Don.
Thank you, Grant. BrownForNC.com. That's BrownForNC.com. Come on, hit us with a contribution. Write us. We'll write you back. We got a few days left before the primary. We're going to take this primary. We're going to take down Roy Cooper, and it will bring the torch of freedom back to the United States Senate from North Carolina to replace Tom Tillis.
Well, good luck to you, Don. You've always been a good friend of this program. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Grant.
All right, absolutely. February, folks, is National Cancer Prevention Awareness Month. And if you or a loved one is battling cancer, we need to make sure that no stone is left unturned, okay? That would be horrible if that happened, wouldn't it? So in an effort to stay healthy, that's where the Wellness Company comes in. The Wellness Company and their medical doctors are professionals that you can trust, from ivermectin to methylene blue to their fantastic new product, Shield. The Wellness Company gives you the opportunity to make the promise of the MAHA movement a reality for you and your family. This February, let's take control of our health. Go to twc.health/voice. Use the promo code VOICE to save 10%. All right, Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York, has decided to cut gifted and talented programs for schools in New York. What is this about?
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but...
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, Max.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice.
is Sandy Zeiss. Rav is the greatest for me because I live alone, and when I'm watching in the morning, have my coffee, I feel like I'm talking with family.
I'm Chris from Illinois. We like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guests. Everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
This is Diane from Rhode Island. Why do I love Real America's Voice? Because they deliver us facts from hosts who love America and love God. What's not to like?
Folks, we go to a disturbing story now coming out of Las Vegas. I want you to take a look at this video. This is an alleged biolab in Las Vegas, in a home in Las Vegas, okay? Apparently an illegal lab with ties, do you ready? To the Chinese Communist Party and ties to the CCP. These same ties go back to that biolab we reported about here 2 years ago, when they busted it in Northern California. Apparently the same individual, one in federal custody, has his buddies running this lab. And again, they do think it is tied to the Chinese Communist Party. Over 1,000 vials found in Las Vegas of unknown substances, hundreds of jugs filled with who knows what. And remember, in California 2 years ago, they found things marked Ebola, COVID virus samples, all kinds of things that could do the American public great harm. We'll keep an eye on that story for you. Turning now to New York City and the socialist/communist mayor, Zohran Mamdani. He now has plans to carry through with his promise to cut the gifted and talented programs in the New York City school district. Now, gifted and talented. Why is he cutting this? Not enough minorities are in it, apparently. What does a socialist want to do? Bring everyone down to the lowest level of a denominator. Not bring everyone up. They want to bring everyone down, and that's what they'll do to the gifted and talented students. This is Mamdani talking about this a while back.
It is incredibly important for us to deliver excellent quality public education for each and every New Yorker, and that for kindergartners, we should not have a gifted and talented program that is separating them on the basis of that assessment.
But people are separated based on their ability. That's life. See, this is the difference between conservatives and Republicans, and it has nothing to do with race. Do I want to get more fathers in the household of minority families? Do I want to have Hispanic families put a greater emphasis on education? Absolutely. But you don't punish another race for that. And that's what they're doing here. And I promise you, the ones that will get punished are not just white kids, but they'll be Asian kids too, because let's face it, they're all top of the class as well. All right, I want to bring in now the author of The Polarization Myth and the Will Skillman Fellow in Education at the Heritage Foundation. Jonathan Butcher is with us. Jonathan, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
All right, Jonathan, so this has DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion written all over it. Let's not have anybody excel. Let's just keep everybody average. That's about as simple as I can put it, Jonathan.
Well, that's right. And there was just a court case that was settled last year. Credit to the group Defending Education, who defended children and the rights of parents to try to have the needs met of their children who were gifted and talented according to early assessments that are given to young children. Look, many parents and educators are familiar with what is known as the COGAT. It's a test that screens for gifted and talented traits in young people. And these are the kinds of students that we should help promote. They're going to be the mathematicians, and the chemists and those who work at NASA, and they should be given the chance to succeed. By the same token, what the mayor is doing is he's covering up, as researchers have said, the long-term failures of the New York City public school system, right? They have not helped children succeed. They have kept students down, especially by not providing choices for parents when their assigned school doesn't meet their needs. Students are forced to stay in low-performing schools.
This reminds me of when we were seeing a push inside many of these blue districts, these blue school districts, when behavior problems were happening. They said, okay, instead of it being too many black and Hispanic kids having the behavior problems, we just won't count the behavior issues and equal it out. Not that the behavior issues goes away. This seems like the same thing. We're having too many white kids succeed, so we just won't have a talented and gifted program, so we won't show any success there.
You're exactly right. This is at the core of what are known as critical theories, especially in recent years as people have become more familiar with critical race theory. This idea that we have to have racial quotas on every public policy is at the center of what they determine to be, quote, equity. And this is completely wrong. You are not judging individuals based on their success or their behavior, but you're judging them based on the color of their skin. And that is precisely what the Civil Rights Act was meant to prevent.
Do you think, if his goal, and even if you take him on his at face value, that his goal is he wants to decrease polarization, he's going about it the total wrong way. I think his goal is more nefarious than that, but if you take him at his word on that, don't you polarize more by doing away with this? Aren't the kids in that class that are now not going to be in a talented and gifted program, and their families going to be more upset with others that they may blame for this? And it just has the opposite effect of what he's trying to do.
Well, absolutely. And remember that there is significant survey evidence from my book and elsewhere, such as Pew Research, that shows that Americans don't want students judged by skin color when they apply to schools, especially when they apply to colleges. It's a highly unpopular idea. It is not where the American public is on this issue, nor have they been there for a long time. In fact, parents want students judged by things like test scores and GPAs and what they succeeded and accomplished in high school. This is how they want students judged. So taking this away from them and giving parents fewer options for children who may be gifted and talented and can succeed later in life is going to be not just dividing people, but you are keeping students down, and frankly, you are oppressing them.
It's amazing to me how their minds work, that they think this is a good idea. I mean, you're really gonna do damage to these kids that had a great opportunity to succeed. I want to play a clip from you from Mom Donnie. Excuse me. I want to play a clip again from Mom Donnie. Yeah, saying that this guy that he hired, who is now going to be on the criminal justice advisor for Mom Donnie. He's got 7 years that he did for armed robbery. Now, this is who he wants on the criminal justice panel. Roll Mom Donnie, cut 7.
You know, we put together a team of more than 400 New Yorkers who are on 17 different committees. And these are New Yorkers who bring with them both a fluency of the policies and politics of the city, the places that they've succeeded, the places that they've failed. And we will take all of their experiences and their analysis into account as we build a city for each and every person.
All right, so he's appointing this person, one, on his transition team, now on this advisory panel for criminal justice. Look, I don't mind having viewpoints. You know, if you have an ex-con who turned his life around, maybe there is a place for that, but it seems like he's filling his ranks with all people that had the opposite of what you're trying to accomplish.
Well, certainly. And look, education should be a ladder of success. It should help people to achieve the American dream. It should help them to overcome whatever circumstances they were born into. And I think what Mondami is doing with the Gifted and Talented program is he's giving parents less access. He's giving them fewer options. They already in New York City have very few options. Most are stuck with the assigned school based on their zip code. And that is not the way it should be in New York City or anywhere else. They should be promoting successful schools like the Success Charter schools that have helped so many many students in New York City. They should be looking around at states like Texas and Florida and Arizona that have promoted education savings accounts and given parents the chance to choose how and where their children learn.
Yeah. Amazing. Jonathan Butcher, I appreciate you coming on. Tell us the name of the book again and where they can find it.
Sure, it's The Polarization Myth, America's Surprising Consensus on Race, Schools, and Sex. And you can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or from my publisher, Encounter Books.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, absolutely. All right, folks, listen up. Doctors are engaging in child mutilation under the guise of gender-affirming care. They are now being put on notice. A landmark lawsuit is paving the way. That's next.
Minnesota's headlines are getting wild. Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar are being accused of massive fraud, and it's so bad, all you can do is laugh at this point. So from Real America's Music, the label that brought you the #1 hit, Anthem of the Free, comes a brand new song from singer-songwriter Natasha Owens, The Somali Waltz. Let's make the music industry mad and run this to #1. Scan the QR code or search The Somali Waltz on iTunes and buy it right now. The Somali Waltz, available everywhere.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th, like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant, available now. Welcome to Real America's Voice Real Minute, your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid. There's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light.
great news to report. I saw this case come through a few days ago, and I said, man, oh man, we are finally getting some action. And this case I'm talking about was tried in Westchester County, New York. You do not get more of a blue county than that. It's right side of New York City, but the jury nailed it, man. A woman who at 16 years old was talked into having a double mastectomy because her doctor convinced her that she was a boy. The doctor, the surgeon, the psychiatrist were sued in this. The mother had said, I wasn't for it, but they talked me into it because they kept telling me that she would commit suicide if they didn't have this surgery. Well, that woman, Fox Varian, is now a detransitioner. She says her life had been horrible. She won $2 million as a settlement of malpractice. This sets the stage for future cases, and there are a lot of them around the country. To help me break this down, I want to bring in a detransitioner herself, an independent woman ambassador. Prisha Mosley is with us. Prisha, welcome back to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, Prisha, can you tell me, I'm sure you've read about this case, did you see any similarities to what you went through and what this girl, Fox Varian, says she went through?
Absolutely. So just like Fox's mother, my parents were asked in front of me if they would rather have a dead daughter or a living son, which further spread the suicide myth, you know, that this was life-saving care. And these doctors not only tell you that, you know, gender-affirming care is life-saving care and that cutting off your breasts will save you, but they tell you that you have no other option. It's transition or die.
So you called it the suicide myth. Is it a myth, or are there kids that end up committing suicide because of this? Or is that really just a tactic used by these doctors to force parents in this direction?
People don't commit suicide because they're trans, because no one is actually trans. People commit suicide for a number of reasons, and none of those reasons are fixed or made better by giving sterilizing hormones, chemicals, and surgery to those people. There are protocols and standards in place, and none of them involve lying to the patient or diluting them or taking away their body parts and their health.
So this case had basically spelled out that the surgeon and the psychiatrist were working hand in hand in cahoots to get this woman to go through this surgery. What is it about those in the medical field that are pushing kids into this? Is it just the money, or are they warped in the brain as well? A combination of both? Have you been able to figure out what it is and how this is happening?
It's difficult to say. I will say for a lot of them, I believe it's the money. I also believe that some of them believe what they've been told, the same way doctors recklessly prescribed opioids because their higher-ups told them to without doing any research or looking at how it affected their patients. And now we have that crisis on our hands. They also just overprescribed hormones and diagnosed any child with any sort of identity issue as trans and medicalized them in the same way.
I want to play a soundbite from you from Pramila Jayapal. She's a radical leftist in Congress. This is what she accused people like me of doing when I call out this transgender mania and that it's hurting kids more than helping them, for sure. Roll cut 3 for me.
So why do my colleagues across the aisle, so-called limited government people, suddenly want government to get in the way of the decisions that parents and their kids make together? Why do they want to stop children from getting medical care that has been proven to be safe and effective and helps them to live happily?
Prisha, I've been answering that for a long time, but I don't have the experience that you have. You went through it. What do you say to Pramila Jayapal from her comments there?
I say that my family and I were groomed by comments like this. Her statement was filled with medical lies. None of this is effective. None of it is safe. None of it is even proven. It's an ongoing medical experiment, and no one's even collecting the data. So what she's spreading is pseudoscientific lies spread by activist organizations, not doctors. There's nothing to prove it. And if I hadn't been lied to in this way and offered things that didn't exist when I needed help, I would still have my health and my body parts. What she's doing is inexcusable at this point.
Prisha, can you take me back to when, I guess, did you start to feel like a boy, or were you told you were feeling like a boy, or were you just a tomboy as what it was when I was growing up? Take me back to that moment where it went wrong.
So I had previous sexual trauma when I was 14. It happened right when I started my period, which I was told was associated with womanhood. So then I associated the sexual assault with womanhood. And then I was in my nutritionist office, and she had gotten me to gain weight, which had started my period again after, not eating had made it go away. And it came back, and I said that I didn't like it and I wanted to be a boy. And then within, a few appointments, I was seeing an endocrinologist behind my parents' back in the nutritionist office. They didn't even know I was seeing the pediatric endocrinologist, who would very quickly go on to prescribe me testosterone.
Unbelievable. From just that to pushing you all the way to going through what you went through. Well, real quick, you doing okay now?
Oh, yes. Thankfully, I wasn't prescribed puberty blockers, and I was able to conceive and give birth to a healthy son. I wasn't able to give birth naturally, and I had complications with my chest due to the nature of the top surgery they gave me. I wasn't able to breastfeed, but I do have an amazing son. He's healthy, and he makes my life great every day.
Well, that makes us ecstatic for you. Prisha Mosley, thank you for coming on. I know it takes a lot of guts to tell this story. You've told it a lot, but you're doing a lot of great good for people out there that are just so uninformed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, folks. It is 2026, and the NFL is still hell-bent on berating their fans with wokeness. We will get into that next.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted,
Seditious conspiracy.
but behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now. Welcome to Real America's Voice Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, if you gotta follow the light.
Welcome back, everybody. Look, Roger Goodell is out of control. We have the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. And what amazes me when it comes to the Super Bowl is this guy, not only do we have Bad Bunny that is now going to be performing at halftime, which I'm not watching. I'll be watching the Turning Point USA production. It will be airing right here on Real America's Voice. But now he's crowing about not having enough black coaches. There were 10 openings for coaches now after the regular season finished. It doesn't look like any of them are going to be filled by black coaches. Because of that, Roger Goodell said this.
I think we need to continue to make progress, and I believe that. I believe diversity is good for us. I think we have become a more diverse league across every platform, including coaching. But we still have more work to do. There's got to be more steps, so we're reevaluating everything we're doing.
More to do? More steps? What does that mean? So let me break this down for you. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Depending on how you look at these coaches, there's 3, maybe 4 black head coaches in the NFL. Now, African Americans make up about 12% of the population. If you have 3 or 4 black head coaches, you've now covered your population in this country is the same as the number of head coaches you have as a percentage of head coaches in the NFL. So what are you whining about? And when you talk about teaching more people, what does that mean? Are you going to exclude others because they're not people of color? Roll the next clip from Goodell.
What is it that we can be doing in training or education, and that goes for not just the candidates, but also the clubs, and how we can try to continue to increase the opportunities and the outcomes ultimately.
So again, more training? What does that mean? You're going to put your arm around young black men and lead them into coaching in the NFL, but if you're a white kid and you really want to coach in the NFL, you're left behind? That isn't fair. Why don't you take applications and whoever is the best or most suited for it? That's who you nurture. Because the NFL, I don't need to tell you, is a big money game. Owners don't care whether a coach is black or white. Owners want a coach who can win. I promise you this. It is about money. You get a winning black coach, they will all want him. You get a winning white coach, you get a winning Asian coach, they will want him. Let's get back to the basics here. Roger Goodell is completely out of line, but so are many of these players in the NFL. They do not represent the large majority of fans. This is a former punter for the Minnesota Vikings. Listen to what he had to say on CNN.
I believe we're on the path that Nazi Germany went down under Hitler, and I say that as a political science and history major, as someone who has studied history, and the parallels are very, very clear. This administration is trying to erase trans people. This administration is trying to put obedience over duty to the country.
There's a reason why you were a pansy-ass punter. I hate to break the news to you. That from a big-time Division III football player here. But, I mean, what a loser. They're so out of touch. They're so deranged. They have been so indoctrinated into the wokeness. They don't even know what. That kid doesn't even know what he's talking about. Go back to punting, okay? Now, the wokeness virus has also infected Hollywood. I don't need to tell you that. But it is bad. This is Kathy Griffin. She's not really a star anymore. Listen to this.
I think it's time to talk to the neighbors in real life. It's time to talk to your neighbors, find out if they're MAGA or not. Sorry, but we have to know who's on our team and start to plan. Is there a way we can do something as a community?
Find out if your neighbors are MAGA and then plan what? To burn their house down while they're inside sleeping with their infant child? You sick mother scratcher. It's disgusting behavior, and I would never wish this on my political enemies ever, and I mean that. It's not just her, Bruce Springsteen. What another disappointment. Bruce Springsteen, roll it.
Your skin is black or brown, my friend. You'll be questioned or deported on sight. In our chance of ice out now. My city's heart and soul persists.
Black and brown friends, go after ICE. That's what your career has now become. You know, you used to be a good singer. What do you think? Born in the USA, right? It's a great song. There's plenty of great songs that Bruce Springsteen sings. Not anymore. He's a loser now. A deranged leftist loser. Speaking of which, a deranged leftist disgusted by a Chili's commercial is threatening to leave the country. Good! We'll hear from her next.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted,
Seditious conspiracy.
but behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now.
Folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Triggered by a Chili's commercial. Watch.
I think I have to get out of America. I just saw a commercial that was my breaking point. It's a Chili's commercial. It's not even a political ad. It's just a Chili's commercial, and I'm losing my mind. I think I have to leave. I don't think I can be a part of this world and this culture. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is because of a Chili's ad.
You know what I'm left wondering? What was in the Chili's ad that's so bad? I mean, I love Chili's. I haven't been there in probably 2 decades, but there's nothing wrong with Chili's. You know what I think we should do? Start running Chili's ads in every blue city in America. Maybe we can get more of them to lead. All right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching, everybody.